What is the highest grossing movie ever made? Okay? How many of you think you know the answer to that question? Whatever your answer is either going to be right or it's going to be wrong. If you say Avatar, you're right. Yeah, you're as surprised as I was. If you say Avatar, you're right. If you say anything else, you're wrong, because that is objectively true. Avatar is the highest grossing movie of all time. Now, that's question number one. Now let's say I were to ask you question number two. What is the best movie ever made? What's the best movie ever made? Your answer probably is not going to be Avatar. I don't know, wouldn't be mine. Okay, your answer is true for you, but your answer might not be true for someone else, because your favorite movie is probably different from someone else's favorite movie. Okay, when it comes to matters of spiritual truth, most people think questions about spiritual truth look more like question number 2 than question number 1. Spiritual truth is your truth. What might be spiritually true for you might not be spiritually true for someone else. However, that kind of thinking is blind to the truth about spiritual truth. Church, one of the blind spots that can cause people to miss the truth about Jesus is the denial of spiritual truth. Let me give you some examples. For example, understand that the denial of truth is self-defeating. What I mean by that is, to deny spiritual truth is to make a spiritual truth claim. Saying there is no such thing as spiritual truth, well, that in itself is a spiritual truth claim. I'll give you a couple of examples of what this looks like. Let's think of skepticism. Okay, for the skeptic, a skeptic doubts all spiritual truth. In fact, in skepticism, doubt is a virtue. A skeptic, by definition, doubts all spiritual truth claims. But is a skeptic skeptical of skepticism? You see what I mean? A skeptic, by definition, must also doubt their own spiritual truth claim that all truth should be doubted. You see, denial of truth, arguments for the denial of truth are self-defeating. Here's another example. Let's talk about pluralism. Okay, skepticism doubts all spiritual truth. Pluralism goes in the other direction. Pluralism says all spiritual truth claims are equally valid. For skepticism, doubt is a virtue. For pluralism, tolerance is a virtue. All spiritual truth claims are equally valid. But pluralism claims that pluralism is true, and anything that is not pluralism is false. In other words, anything that is not pluralism, pluralism says, is not equally valid with pluralism's truth claims. You understand? I think I shared this when it happened. This is many years ago now. Someone called my office here at the church, and it was a guest. This guest had been visiting for some time, and the guest had questions about our church, and I love that. I love when people understand the importance of selecting a church properly. Okay, so they had questions about our church. One of the questions they asked was about marriage. It was right after the Supreme Court decision. So they said, where does the church stand on marriage? And I explained, we believe in biblical marriage, the permanent union between one biological man and one biological woman. That's what the Bible teaches about marriage, so that's what we practice here. The person on the other end of the phone says, well, I appreciate your being honest with me. He said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a tolerant person. I believe that if somebody wants to marry somebody else, they ought to be able to do that regardless. We ought to tolerate all those viewpoints. So I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to attend your church. To which I said, wait a minute, I thought you said you were a tolerant person. See, a tolerant person would tolerate anyone and everyone, even those they considered to be intolerant. See, these arguments for the denial of spiritual truth, they're self-defeating. They're illogical. They collapse in on themselves. And when people deny that spiritual truth exists, they are blind to that reality. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, let me encourage you to hit the like button or post a comment below. And if you haven't done so already, we hope you'll subscribe to our channel to be notified of new content. Thanks again for spending time with us.